just before you begin building your project, you should think about what is the major part of the project. What are actual standalone segments of the project? What are things that are just additions to the project? And the reason is, for the most part, you'll be working on teams, not in this particular project, and those pieces will have to come together. More importantly, for your own project, this one, the fast car, you're going to have to send things off to print individually. So you'll assemble them and build the project together. But even though you're building the project as one unit, they have to go off to print as separate units. And so you have to go ahead and create them actually as separate units. So when I was thinking about creating this fast car, I go ahead and I'm thinking, well, the main part of this fast car is this body right here. And then everything else is kind of built off of it. So this one body is going to go off and print by itself. I have these wheels, and these wheels, let me go ahead and turn on a wheel. These wheels, here's a wheel right here. These wheels are going to go off. They're separate from the body. Even though I'm building them with the body in this project, I realized I'm going to create them as separate components. And that's a term you're going to need to know, just like body is a term you're going to need to know. So I want them as standalone items, so that even though I'm building them with the car, I'm going to build them as separate components that are going to go off to print by themselves, and then I assemble everything together in the end. And that's also the same with these axles. So let me see if I can get one of the axles here. There's an axle. The axles I'm also considering as, before I build anything, that's a standalone. It's going to, even though I'm going to build it as I design and put it together, will be with the other components in the body, it's still going to go off and print by itself. And then here, let's just even say this hole in which the axles are going to spin in, and I'm not going to zoom in, but you can see it. I'm not going to call that a separate item, although I had to create it as part of this, as a separate entity, as part of this body. And so I'll call that a feature. And so I do the editing to this feature as part of this overall body. So before you start building, you should think about, one, what is the major component, in this case body, that you're going to be creating. Everything else is going to be based off of. You should then think about, well, what is actually going to be components that are standalones when they get built. Built as part, but then they're going to have to go off printed by themselves. And which ones would you say are actually just features? And those features being based off of whether it's a component or the primary body. In essence, they're all components, but there's one, this whole body is what everything is being based off of. So think about that before you start actually building the project, because it's going to save you a lot of time in the end when you go to print.